Hello, everyone. Welcome to Vanished Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanis. This is episode 115, season 5, and today's date is March 27, 2022. And happy Sunday, everybody, and thank you for joining me. Today, I will talk about something different. I'm talking about the 40th anniversary of A&P Supermarkets that closed in the Chicagoland area. And I will talk about my memories of the store. Also, I'll do a wrap-up of this past week's post on Vanished Chicagoland, get into more detail of that. And right now, the program will go into a commercial break. And this program is brought to you by Listerol disinfectant spray from the makers of Listerine. I know it's a strange product. I stumbled upon it on YouTube, and I do remember this product. So here is a commercial from 1974. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Vi Wellick, owner of the Flying E Ranch, speaking for new Listerol spray disinfectant from the Listerine people. Listerol sounded like something I'd like, and I do. It has 4 germ killers to wipe out odor-causing germs, prevents mold and mildew, and has proven more effective in controlling their odors than the leading brand. And I love this smacking clean smell. We've switched to Listerol at this ranch.
Listerol spray disinfectant, the new germ killer from the makers of Listerine Antiseptic.
We're so done with New Year, New You. This year, it's more you on Bumble. More of you shamelessly sending playlists, especially that one filled with show tunes. More of you finding Geminis because you know you always like them. More of you dating with intention because you know what you want. And you know what? We love that for you. Someone else will too. Be more you this year and find them on Bumble.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Listerol. That seems like a knockoff of Lysol. Lysol's still around. Listerol, nah, it's not around. I haven't seen it. So, when I was growing up, I do remember this product. I really do. It was like when I watched television a lot, and I remember a lot of weird products. Some have changed, some are gone, like Haley's MO for laxative. That's from Phillips Milk of Magnesia. I saw another commercial of that. And, nothing flashy. The commercial is just plain old straightforward. Okay. At the top of the program, I'm going to talk about, like I said, I'm sorry. On top of the program, I'm going to talk about the 40th anniversary of A&P Supermarkets that closed in the Chicagoland area. And they continued elsewhere, mostly on the Northeast in the United States. So I'll go into more detail how the company started, my memories of being in the stores. I shop with my mother and the products. Like, for example, 8 O'Clock Coffee and Jane Parker and also Ann Page. So we'll go into that. Right now, I'm going to do a wrap-up of last week's post on Vanished Chicagoland. There's only a few, so just bear with me. And about 4 days ago, I posted a photo that was from the 1960s. It was in the Chicago Loop on the corner of West Washington Street and State Street. And that one was really cool, and they showed 2 stores that are very well known and that people remembered. One was Carol's Menswear. It was on the corner, and the Chicago Federal Savings building. It was the bank. Carol's, a lot of people remember that. They had wonderful clothes. It was the Red Hanger shops. There was one in Fort City, where I used to live at the Fort City Shopping Center, also in 63rd and Kedzie. And they were around for a long time. And I think they closed probably late 80s, 90s, and I remember I bought a tie there. And for when I bought a new suit, and it was beautiful. I remember it was like gold, golden. And it was a nice store. Very nice store indeed. Okay, the next item I posted a menu from it was the Yacht Club restaurant at the Edgewater Beach Hotel, located on the north side. And a lot of people love that hotel. Remember the pink building? The hotel's gone, but there's the apartments there, and it's right near St. Andrew's Greek Orthodox Church. I went to a wedding there one time, and a couple occasions, and the church is beautiful. I love it there. It's right by the lakefront. And Edgewater, the beach hotel, was a very, very popular place in its heyday. I might do a podcast episode about the history of that. Kind of interesting. Also, let's see. I posted another Creature Features ad, and it was from the 1961 movie Creature from the Haunted Sea. I never saw this movie. I heard it's directed by Roger Corman, and they said some people said it was terrible. Not when you're a kid; it's really scary. But believe it or not, when I posted this on my Facebook page, people remembered this movie. I remember watching it. So that was a first, for that to air on Creature Features. So a lot of it was not how would I say it, top quality film. It was probably low budget. Okay. Next thing was this past Friday was Greek Independence Day. And Chronia Palata, everybody who celebrate their names today. And this is a photo I posted last year. And I decided to post this year. And it's a photo from 1975, and it's a parade. It's a float from the Greek Independence Parade, and they used to march on State Street. Now this year's Greek Independence Parade will be in May. They announced that a little while ago, and it's going to be a Greek town on Halsted Street. Not appropriate. And this float was, driving by. Well, I guess driving. And it was passing by the Charles A. Stevens store. Beautiful clothes, beautiful store. People still miss it. Okay, and let's see. The last thing I posted was the famous billboard from the Suitery, a men's clothing store. If you remember, it's on Dearborn Street, by the Chicago River, near the Marina Towers. This was from the 1980s, and I don't remember shopping at this store, but I remember the commercials on television. They had a lot of locations. The one I'm most familiar was not downtown, but in Oak Lawn, and it was on 95th Street. And they had several locations. I don't know who opened it, who started it, or exactly when it closed. I tried to find history of it, but not much. Maybe I'll keep trying and then mention to another episode. We'll see about that. But again, it was a very nice store. Beautiful suits, men's suits, ties, shirts. Oh, guys today don't dress up anymore. They're sloppy. But I like to wear a suit occasionally. It's nice. I wear one going to church. If you go to a wedding, a function that is it is required, that the attire that's required to wear. Okay. Alrighty. Next up, we'll talk about the 40th anniversary of A&P Supermarkets. And they closed around this week in 1982. Before I get to that, I want to mention one thing. Today is March, like I said, it was March 27th. This is my 5-month anniversary of being cancer-free from prostate cancer. I'm very happy, very pleased. I will see the doctor 1 month from now for my 6-month checkup, but tomorrow I'll go to my regular doctor, see if everything's okay. Still don't like to go. I'm nervous. I don't know. But I'm feeling much better. I've had some weird side effects from the drug I take every day, but it's taxing. It's very, I'm struggling like that, but I'm doing better. Okay. Right now we'll talk about the A&P. And let's see. I posted a ad last night, and it showed they had a closeout sale. And I don't know exactly how many. I mean, I don't have time to count, but it seemed like there were about 30 stores in the Chicago area that were still open. So a couple in Indiana, and they were in Chicago and the suburbs. And I remember the one in Oak Lawn. And also, but the one I remembered was when I lived in the Roseland area. It was in the early 70s. It was located on East 112th Street between State and Michigan, right near Gately's People Store. And it was on the right side of the street when you head west. And my mom shopped there frequently. She really did. She liked the store. And I remember going in and I don't know, for some strange reason, I remember sawdust. I think there was sawdust. It must have been in the store. But she took me and my brother to go shopping. And I remember certain items. For example, there was Ann Page. I know she made jellies and spices and peanut butter. Also, there was Sunnybrook eggs. Remember that? There was also Sultana tea. Okay. And of course, there was Jane Parker brands. They had their bread, donuts. Also, their famous pastry is the Spanish bar cake. Now, the Spanish bar cake, it was like a spice cake, and it includes nutmeg and a hint of clove, and sometimes there were raisins in, and it was 2 layers, and it had vanilla frosting. I've never tried it, but a lot of people mentioned and said they used to buy this cake at A&P, and they loved it. And believe it or not, Jane Parker has a website. It's sort of still in business, and maybe you can order it. But I checked the website, and it's sold out. I don't know if it's still around. I have no idea. And they look pretty good. They look pretty good. That's famous for it. And of course, let's see what else. Also, they're famous for 8 o'clock coffee, which is still around, but A&P is not. So it was bought from another company. I think they sold it in 1979, right before, a few years before the A&P stores closed in Chicago. Okay. Right now, I'm going to play a commercial for 8 o'clock coffee, and it's the We Care commercial. And this is the 8 o'clock coffee commercial from 1975. Enjoy.
A&P cares about coffee, every single bean. So we keep the richness of our 100% Brazilian 8 o'clock coffee nature sealed in whole beans until it's ground to your order. Keeps 8 o'clock's Brazil bright flavor alive like no can. 8 o'clock's live flavor. Always a money saver at A&P and A&P's A-Mart food stores. Now 69 cents a pound or the 3-pound bag for $1.99. A&P cares about coffee and about you.
Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for 8 o'clock coffee. The voice of the man is Casey Kasem. Sounds like Casey Kasem. I believe it's him. And 8 o'clock coffee is still around. You could purchase at stores, maybe, and no longer owned by A&P. No longer owned. I remember when I was little, the A&P store, they had the grinders. That red machine, and it's silver, and you adjust how you want your coffee. Remember that? And when you walked into the store, you have the aroma. Oh, it's heavenly. It really does. Believe it or not, my mother never bought one. She never bought one. And she never bought that coffee. And, someday maybe I will buy it. See how it tastes. And I mentioned the store before. It was on 112th Street and Michigan Avenue. Also, when we moved to Ashburn in 1974, the A&P that was nearby was probably on 81st and Cicero, but there was one on 79th Street and Pulaski, right near Bogan High School, where I went to school. And I heard about maybe a year before it it caught fire and it burned. And so I was told by the kids and the neighbors that, there was an A&P, but it was gone. And it was replaced by Barnaby's Pizza, I think. You remember that? I used to eat that pizza when I was in high school. Then they changed it to Sorrento's. I forgot the name. Barnaby's is still around. There's one in, I think, Northbrook or Des Plaines. I think there's one left. But there was one in 111th and Cicero in Alsip, I think. Anyway, so A&P's struggled around for a while. There was too much competition, because the company was founded in 1859, and it was called of course, it was named the Great Atlantic Pacific Tea Company. So they shortened it that. And it was founded by a man named George Gilman as the Gilman and Company. And it was not a grocery store. It was like a small chain of tea and coffee stores. So it was just tea and coffee in New York. Later on, it turned into a regular store, grocery stores. And then the first A&P grocery store happened in 1900, believe it or not. And then it just grew and grew and grew. By 1930, it grew to 16,000 stores. That's a lot. And then by the later on, it turned into a supermarket. And then sometimes there was rumored that they had poor customer service, and they didn't modernize. It reminds me of Sears. That's what it was. And also, it was another founder of the store besides George Gilman was George Huntington Hartford. Was another guy. The headquarters was in Montvale, New Jersey. So when it closed in the 80s, I remember when I went to DeVry Institute of Technology in the 80s, I went to college there. I took a course in financial accounting. I think either cost accounting or I took both classes, but I don't know which one that A&P was mentioned. The teacher mentioned about A&P, what happened? Why did it fail in Chicago? Why did it leave? And I sort of remembered that. And I forgot the reason why, but we had to do something, an assignment about that. But I'm not very good at counting. I still am not. That's one subject I'm terrible at. Anyway, so in the late 80s, I went on a trip to New York for the first time. And believe it or not, I stayed in Manhattan. And I remember when I walked around or I took a cab, I saw A&P stores. So you know what? One day I just walked in to an A&P store to see if it reminded me of the ones when I was growing up in Chicago. It sort of did. There was a little A&P. 8 o'clock coffee was gone by then, but their products are still around. Ann Page or Jane Parker. I don't really remember. So that was the last time I visited an A&P, and that was in New York City. Excuse me. So, and then it went out of business in 2015. That was the last, and I think there were a few operating in Canada. So now they have on YouTube. They have like they celebrate the A&P. They have old commercials. They show the products, and people still miss the store. And when I posted a photo the other day, it was an A&P store, and then there was a CTA bus driving by. I don't know the location. And when people saw that, their memories they were coming back. People walked to the store and they remembered where it was located in their neighborhoods, and it was nice. And some people worked there. Some people liked it, some people didn't. Which is a shame. Okay. So I also wrote a story about A&P on my blog. So if you go to my blog, vanishedchicagoland.blog, and type in A&P, you would find it. You would find that. Okay. So that'll be all for today. Thank you for joining me. I discussed my post. I did a wrap up of last week's post on Vanished Chicagoland on Facebook. Also, I talked about the 40th anniversary of A&P Supermarkets that closed in the Chicagoland area. Oh, another thing I mentioned about A&P, their commercials. There was two guys. This was in the 70s. One was Price and the other one was Pride. And let's see. I think there was a short guy and there was a big, tall, overweight guy like that. And I remember those commercials in the 70s when they aired in Chicago. And you can find a couple of them on YouTube. You really can. Okay. And let's see. So that's it for today. I will do another episode probably Tuesday. I'll see what I'll discuss. Tonight is the Oscars. I will watch that. Not a big movie fan, but I'll watch it anyway. The last movie I saw was The Batman. 3-hour long movie with my brother. I loved it. It was a great movie. And, when you go to a theater, it's traditional to buy popcorn, and I did that. They go together like peanut butter and jelly. So that was the last movie I saw. Hopefully be famously, Oscar nights are either long, boring, or there'll be a surprise. There always was. So I'm looking forward to it. That'll be a lot of fun. Okay. So this is Pete Costanes for Vanished Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Thank you again for joining me. I hope to hear from you soon. And like I said before, I'll do another episode on Tuesday. Right now, here is Ray Rayner doing a little traveling music and saying bye-bye for now. So long, everybody. Take care. And here is Ray.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.